Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today I'm going to talk about a few topics which are really plaguing the ummah, especially the younger generation of the ummah. And people are not really aware of this. Even if they are aware, they are turning a blind eye, thinking it's not really that serious, while it is. I'm going to talk about pornography, making marriage difficult, going against the fitra, going against the nature, neglecting your mental health. Let's talk about pornography. These topics that I'm going to cover might really take 2 or 3 videos of their own, but I really want to just go through all over it just as a introduction. Parents, if you are watching this, especially if you have a child of 8 year or 9 year old who has an access to internet connected device, especially during the pandemic and the rise of online education, people like your children is vulnerable to this pornographic material, and you can't really expect the child to handle this material. Like, the child is innocent and curious. When the child is innocent, he or she doesn't know like this is filth and this is disgraced in the is disgraced to be watched in Islam. I'm talking from an Islamic point of view, and the child is curious, so like what this could be, I have never seen such a thing before, and this child will be curious towards those materials. Even if you don't give a child a smartphone, if they are going to schools, which is not now, I guess, but even if they are going to school, their classmates who have been exposed to this material might introduce them to this kind of filthy things, and they get fallen into the trap. Like, at the age of 8 up until the age of 25, the person had been consuming pornographic material each and every single day, and the person gets into the marriage expecting what they see in porn is reality, and their marriage gets ruined. They don't get what they expected. Children come into lives, and may Allah safeguard us. If they become really triggered, if they become really dissatisfied, they might even end up getting divorced. And these things might seem out of the storybooks to you guys, the older generation, but the younger generation is completely new. They are facing a completely new world. The entire world, like, this is a mouse actually, but the smartphone, the entire world is in the palm of the hands, and you didn't had access to internet 10 or 15 years ago, and internet is widespread nowadays. First thing I would say is make dua. Second thing is educate the child, especially when the child has attained puberty at the age of it varies from 9 to 13 to female, and 12 to 15 to the males. And now children are getting matured so early. Educate the child from an Islamic point of view. I'm talking to the Muslims here. From an Islamic point of view, what intimacy, what sex is all about to your child, through the hadith and the Quran. The next thing you can do is monitor a child, set up parental controls, set up parental filters which are freely available on the internet, and see what the child is watching through. And if you caught your child watching, just don't whack the child, because the child won't really trust you after that. Sit with the child, have a small talk, why it is wrong and what it can do to you. Just guide the child. Just don't let them fall into this addiction, which I see many people are having the struggle of their lives getting rid of the addiction, or some people are turning a blind eye. May Allah safeguard them, saying that this is nothing wrong. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is marriage. People are making marriage really difficult, and I really don't know. People of the older generation, the generation before me, had access to marriage so easily, and they didn't had so much fitna around them. The world is changing now. People are really going towards modernizing the society, which I really don't understand. But people are there is so much fitna, and in Islam, the issue of having a extramarital relationship, having a relationship out of marriage is totally prohibited, and people of their age group are having relationships out of at the school or at their college. People are having relationship out of marriage because they are not in the fold of Islam, and you are really, sorry, you are really not allowing them to have a relationship in a halal way, and you're expecting them to be pious. Please don't make a fool out of, I'm sorry if I'm being rude, but just like as you have, uh, to eat, to drink, Allah has put the desire inside of a human, and Allah has shown like this is an halal way to have your desires. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam encouraged the younger generation to get married early if they can afford, or you can fast. By no means this is a loophole to commit zina. People are making zina so easy. They're setting unreal expectations. I will just give an example. Like, let's just say the father of a girl who is around 50 years old expects a 20-year-old to earn what he's earning right now. Like, just remember, guys, like you when you got married, you didn't really had much money, and now you're expecting the younger generation to have a six-figure income. This is totally unrealistic. We as a ummah have to uplift whole hands and help together to grow. We are not really doing that. We are making things which are halal really, really, really hard. One apart from marriage, another example I can give is people undermining Quran education. People say, like, when my child gets a degree, I will enroll him in Quran class. When he gets graduated, he can learn about the deen. They are preparing for the world, which they should be, but alongside you should be also preparing for the dunya, for the deen also. While preparing for the dunya, let's just say your child will be graduating at the age of 27. You haven't given them any education, and the child passes away at the age of 26. He hasn't prepared anything for the exam that he was going to be facing now. He had been preparing for an exam, but not preparing for the most important exam, which might come at any time of the day. This is just one example of how we are making things which are halal, making them really hard, and we are making things haram really easy, and then we go about complaining, oh, the ummah has become so bad. Don't know why the younger generation is like this. Please, the younger generation needs the help of the older generation to guide them, so stop making things which are halal, you know stop making things which are halal harder for them. Facilitate things which are halal. I can just give an example. Like, let's just say one child is studying, like maybe he might be 25 and he wants to get married. You can make them get married now, and they can live separately until they graduate. By this way, you are really helping them stay halal and safeguarding them from haram. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is fitra. Fitra is totally messed up. Fitra is nature. I will just give an example. Men acting like men, women acting like women. I will talk about men most importantly. People have lost what it is really meaning to be a man. People are not really educating what the fitra of a man is. People don't really show, like, this is what man is supposed to be. A man is supposed to be a caregiver, caretaker. Needs to be a provider to the family. He needs to be a good leader. He needs to have a good passion. Yes, to be a man, you have to have a passion. The Sahabas were some of the most passionate people, and they were real men. We need to go back, trace back the history, read the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and see what it takes to be a real man is. This is something you had to do before even getting into marriage. You had to be a man before. The fitra, which is totally lacking, and people are not really teaching their kids who are going to be future men what being men is all about. Like I said, these topics, they might take 2 or 3 videos of their own, but I just wanted to get through it. The next thing about mental health. People think mental health is non-existent, and as you can see, I have a stethoscope there. I am a medical student, so mental health is real, As much as we turn away from it, it will continue to haunt us. We have to accept that it is there, and people who are suffering from it, may Allah help us all, may Allah help those who are suffering from mental health issues. The ummah, especially the older generation, has to recognize someone who is going through this mental health crisis, and they need to uplift them, they need to help them. They should not, discard them, saying like this is nothing. If you do this, the children, I'm saying, they won't really come up to you and say what problems they have, what issues they have. They will start distancing them from yourself, and you will lose a connection which is really important, especially for the parents. You will lose a special bond, a special connection. The child won't be comfortable sharing things with you. So mental health is real. It might take a lot of videos, a dozen of videos on its own, but it's real. And if a child comes up to you and says I have, the child won't just come up and say like, I have a mental health issue, because the child has no knowledge about it. He or she might just come up and say I'm not feeling well, like I just got bullied at school, teacher said it to me like that, some uncle or just acted in a really weird manner to me. Parents, please consider what your child is saying, listen to them, be a listener, and take action accordingly. Just don't spank them, and just don't just whap them like belt उठा के मारते हैं, ऐसा मत करना. Don't do like that. And when you listen to a child, as they grow up, they will feel comfortable sharing your issues with them. So these are the few topics that I wanted to cover about. I know these topics will take videos of their own, but I hope I will get to meet you guys again in the next video. This is the direction that I am planning to take my channel, especially catered towards the younger generation, for people who are suffering with pornographic addiction, people who are suffering with mental health issues. I'm catering my channel towards them. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.